Why is it that when you hand over a business to a Ghanaian to manage, you get screwed? Per my observation, I know people gonna come for me on this, but I'm just telling the truth. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So in this video, we're gonna talk about the brutal truths of doing business in Ghana, right? There are some advantages and there are some disadvantages, but it's absolutely worth it. That's why I'm still here. The purpose of this video is not to discourage you. The purpose of this video is to inform you and for you to be well prepared with regards to doing business in Ghana, because if you're coming from the West, how business is done here is a bit different. The same principles, but the people you're dealing with, the mindset and a lot of stuff is a bit different from what we are used to. So it is my job to educate you guys on real estate, business, and life in general in Ghana and some African countries at large. So let's dive into it. Well, before I dive into the video, let me start off by letting you guys know that I actually operate a business down here. I have a couple of businesses. I'm actually in core. I'm on the ground. I'm speaking from experience, not from observation. So doing business in Ghana is there are a lot of opportunities with regards to the idea, right? If you're in the West and you're trying to think about an idea with regards to what business do I want to do, it's already like a lot of competitions out there because access to capital is really easy. So you really have to think outside the box. If you want to do something that everybody else is doing, you could have a successful business, as many people do, don't get me wrong, but the competition is more fierce because anybody else could do the exact thing that you are doing if it's so easy to copy or do, and you guys are competing for prices and stuff like that, which is why a lot of people keep saying that there are a lot of business opportunities in Ghana, because there are a lot of sectors that's untapped, right? For example, customer service in general is very terrible in Ghana in most industries, except from my experience, the beauty industry, where when you get your pedicure, manicure, the women, that side, they got their stuff together. The customer service is impeccable in that arena. But other than that, so a few restaurants that you go that the customer service is good. People are genuinely slow. It's totally different. So let's dive into it. So the advantage is you really do not have to think outside the box, especially if you're coming from the West. You probably might have seen something that's done a certain way, but it's not here, right? And it becomes a lot easier for you to replicate that, make that your business idea. And if you're coming from the West as well, you have the advantage of having a lot of money. When I say a lot of money, I'm not talking about millions. Somebody coming down here with $50,000 in cash is within the 1% of the population here, right? And to couple that with the fact that to get a loan from the banks out here is not a joke, right? So the average Ghanaian who's trying to compete with you just don't even have the money. It's not that they are not smart. There are some brilliant people down here, but the capital to start is not easy. I have tremendous amount of respect for people who came from nothing in Ghana and have managed to build successful businesses that's thriving. I know a couple of people, right? Well, if you're a foreigner and you come to Ghana, you're trying to do a business, most of the business is like old school brick and mortar businesses in Ghana, because we are now developing the country. It is a developing country and on a fast pace at that, right? So most of the businesses that most people want to start, it has something to do with acquiring land and building factories, buildings and stuff like that. Most of the businesses that people are getting into. Well, you could rent a shop, which is a lot easier. But most people are building, they are building a factory, they are building a hotel, they are building a restaurant, they are buying a restaurant, renovating it. So that brings me to lands, right? So if you're a foreigner, the leasing system in Ghana usually, by agreement, you are going for 50 years lease instead of 99 for the average local Ghanaian. But these are some of the disadvantages for a foreigner. There are ways around it. It's Ghana after all, but these are some of the stuff that you could be thinking about, right? Once you have that, there are a lot of land issues as well. So you have eliminated a lot of your risk. If the business you want to do doesn't have much to do with buying land and building, you have eliminated a lot of the risk. But it doesn't mean that you can't buy land and build. You can absolutely buy land and build. It's just that side is a little bit more murky. So this is a huge disadvantage. The land system in Ghana it's not straightforward. It's a lot of issues, and a lot of people come down here try to do business, and just land alone will suck them dry, and they end up failing and going back. So it's something that you must really look out for. Land, trying to buy land and build, and that's what your business revolves around. you really have to be careful. Where you've built your business or you rented so you didn't have to deal with the land. So you are now operating a business. Now, another challenge is you have to deal with the average Ghanaian worker, right? Fortunately, these are my people. I love my people. That's why I'm down here. But the truth is, the average Ghanaian worker is unfortunately very lazy. It's not, self-directive. They're not going to direct themselves. You have to tell them what to do. They don't really care about the job. I don't know if it's because of the pay being so low, but you could tell that there is no energy, there's no passion. And a lot of people, right, they just are there to collect the pay, and you can just tell, right? You think people don't care about the West, but doing their work in the West, you're gonna see that here. People just don't care. They're just there like zombies just to get paid. And I think maybe it has something to do with the pay. The mindset is basically it's not theirs, so they're not going to give it their best. It's not everybody. It's not everybody, but this is something I see. Ghanaians are actually hard workers, right? If you go outside of Ghana in the West, and you see a Ghanaian, you see that they're really like high ranking, the corporate executive, or if they have a business, it's thriving. We are hard workers and we are very smart, but I don't know what it is. The people who are down here on the ground, the mindset they have is a bit different. And, I think that definitely contributes to the poverty and the struggles down here more than it is the government, as people complain about. It is more about the attitude of the average Ghanaian. And when you're working with them, it's a bit hard, right? It's a bit hard to, let's say, to scale, right? I think that's where the issue is. Now, if you're around, you are macromanaging, you know, you're over there having somebody overlooking them, then you can have a thriving business. So that's where I want to talk about my personal experience here. Let's say, I own a construction company, right? When we sell land and all that stuff, I'm usually on the forefront. It's very easy to deal with. But when we're doing construction, there are a lot of workers in play, right? Painters, tilers, whole bunch of people that come into play. It's a lot of personnel, right, that we deal with, and we can't hire all these people. So a lot of them are contractors, people that we bring from outside when there is a job to be done. And as we work on more projects, right? So if we're working like one or two projects, we have people that we've worked with, they got what it takes. But as we expand, we bring in more people, or they bring in more people, and then it becomes really chaotic and kind of hard to scale and get bigger because of the attitude of the Ghanaian worker. If you look at some of the most successful companies, locally successful companies, they are usually have a big factory or something. It's all concentrated, right? So an example would be the Casapreco guy, right? Which is like the beverage, he has that Wake Water. It's a very big company in Ghana, has a subsidiary called Cape May where they actually build the signature and they have other properties. So he's doing well. He built something amazing. And this guy is so brilliant because the real estate sector, he has his daughter in charge of it, right? So that's how you got to do it. That's exactly how the Chinese and the Lebanese are doing it. So the Lebanese has a lot of different restaurants, malls, and they can easily replicate themselves and kind of like, have multiple branches and franchise it out, because the system that they have is they bring their own people in to oversee the Ghanaian workers, right? So each location has like an overall boss making sure that everything is going according to plan. So each location is as if you only have one business, right? They put their owns there. Why is it that when you hand over a business to a Ghanaian to manage, you get screwed? Why? Not all businesses, but the vast majority, because per my observation, I know people gonna come for me on this, but I'm just telling the truth. Per my observation, China Mall has multiple branches, Palace Mall has multiple branches, Honeysuckle, which is owned by Lebanese, multiple branches. There's a few Ghanaian-owned businesses that has been able to franchise itself out and be successful. It's a few. When you put a Ghanaian in charge, that's not a family. Even a family member will potentially screw you. And if he or she is not a family member, then you are more likely to get screwed, right? So it is a huge problem trying to think bigger and work on something that's more physical, right? You need a system in place, like relatives, if you're lucky, if you have good relatives, or you find some really trustworthy people, which is really not easy to find down here. It makes it extremely hard, right? Like quality of your work will go down, money will be stolen, and a whole bunch of stuff, right? it's been one of the biggest challenges that I'm personally going through right now with building. Like I said, selling land is easy. It's easy because all of that come to me. The workers don't really touch any of the land documents. I handle everything. So selling land is kind of the easiest thing, right? Except maybe you sell land to someone and then somebody will try to bother them and I have to go fight them off, which is it doesn't happen often. And it's not a big deal. That doesn't affect your business, doesn't give you any headaches. Everything is under control. But when you send somebody to go, for example, paint, right? Since we're in construction, a small space, you don't have to go. Like I don't have to go there and stand over a painter who's well trained to paint. You would think, with common sense, they will go and paint the place and get it right. But the client will receive something that they are so unhappy with because this person just went and didn't give a crap and just messed it up, right? And unfortunately, this is the mystery of the mind of a Ghanaian. I cannot wrap my mind around it, right? And these are people that are competent, that you've used, over time, that they can perform, but they can just 360 and that's it. Another thing is, as you're scaling, right, you can't go in and buy every single material yourself, right? I can't go in and buy the glasses for the glass installer to install it, right? So I have to trust some people along the way. And as you go, like we've experienced situations where we've worked with somebody for a year, and then one day you give that person a significant amount of money for a big project to like a window guy. We had this experience, and the person would just take the money and you will not see them again, right? And that's a big all on your part. You just don't know when they will put a plug on you on this. So it can happen with poor work, poor quality work, like because they didn't get their way. An example would be, let's say, a painter that you used to give money to go buy the paint, right? And you find out that this person is kind of stealing from you a bit and it's adding up. So you decided to be smart and buy your own paint and give it to them, right? That they can pay you back by just doing sloppy work and making you look bad, right? And doing this on a large scale, right? When you have like 10 projects ongoing, 7 projects ongoing now, multiple sites. You are one person, me and my business partner, or even if it's 3 of you guys, right? There's 7 sites. You're not gonna be there all together simultaneously. Things will be ongoing when you're not around, and it becomes a bit quite hectic, honestly. Managing these things because the average Ghanaian worker will be sleeping. You have to catch them and fire them and keep them on their toes. The average Ghanaian worker will not care about not doing a crappy work. Like they don't care about the work. They just care about getting paid at the end of the day, right? Because most construction workers get paid by the day. So they just care about standing there and working for the day and getting paid, and they don't care the kind of work, the quality of work that they're doing for you. And it could be brutal. I'm just being honest with you. It could be brutal. So it depends on what kind of business you want to start, right? It depends on what kind of business you want to start. And you got to think about if you scaled it, like, not everybody thinks like me. Some people are okay with their little shop. They are making good money. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But I'm the kind of guy who I do one thing. I want to make it like, how big can we go, right? And you run into some sort of these issues in Ghana because I'm not creating a software company. That's a whole different ball game because I don't have to go to multiple locations to do that. I can just be in the office with a whole bunch of people. But I'm not a tech guy, right? That's not my background. I'm a numbers guy, marketing guy, and now construction. So construction comes with a lot of moving parts, and the average Ghanaian worker, it is not a joke. So you got to know what field you are in. Look at, if you want to scale it, how can you do it? Usually it's easier if you have trusted family members. You have a big family, you can put them on each location. You can put one of them there to supervise. That's the easiest. That's what the Chinese are doing. That's what the Balinese are doing. That's what other races are doing. And a few Ghanaian, companies that do well. If you want to go big and like, let's say you're doing like ANC, that guy, I really respect him a lot, right? ANC is owned by a Ghanaian, right? Him and his wife, and now he got his kids on board. So that way you can go bigger. And he built ANC Corner, which is massive, right? But it's easy. It's kind of easy to manage that project because people pay their rent yearly here, even 6 months, 2 years in advance. So you just get your pay, and then you just gotta make sure the management is ongoing, the compound is being cleaned, everything is up to date, like maintenance is up to date and all of that. And if you're not doing that, that's poor customer service. People gonna complain. But ANC is well put together. It's a thriving business, and they're expanding. I'm always happy to see a Ghanaian, build a company and then scale it. Like scaling is what we need, so you can employ a lot of people. And it's not so easy to do here, right? When we are talking about, like I said, physical stuff, right, that you have to literally go and build. We are building a country. That's what opportunity lies. Literally building stuff, right? Technology is there as well, but excuse me, the opportunity lies in the country needs a lot of building. So I pray that the work ethic of the average Ghanaian, Ghanaians can work. The people who want to work can work, right? But the mindset is just not. It's not good. The mindset is not good. It's not easy to get it right here. But the foreigners are winning. They figure it out. They put their own there, and they supervise the hell out of these Ghanaians, and they perform, right? And it's quite sad that we can do it amongst ourselves, and the foreigners are winning. They are winning on a massive scale. Melcom, you go to any Melcom, you see if the Melcom is big enough, they definitely have an Indian guy in there as a manager. Like if you look at the branches in East Legon, huge. They have Indians out there looking it out. But if you go to areas where the Melcom is small, you could see a Ghanaian manager, but the systems in place is crazy. So you need those sort of system, cameras, like double checkpoints and all that, right, to ensure that nobody's stealing from you. The system that they have in place is extremely hard to steal. You have to think about it that way, right? Because the Ghanaian will take from you when they have the opportunity. They don't have the best interest at heart. And who are you to blame them? I mean, life could be tough out here. The pay isn't much. Like I said, the pay isn't much for the average Ghanaian worker. So they're constantly looking for the opportunity to screw you. I might come off as very negative, but this is the truth. Now, on the bright side, if you're lucky, like myself, I have a few great people that I work with. And, for example, I have a guy who used to be my driver, but now I drive myself in Ghana. It's like a family to me. Like, he's known me my whole life. He's a bit older than me. And I move him to multiple stuff that I do. He knows everything. He's on construction sites, paying workers and all that stuff. If I'm going to the car wash, he's there. He's like, can trust that guy with my life. So you find people like that. I have a few of those. So there are some good people here, but it's not easy to find the average Ghanaian is willing and ready to steal from you, willing and ready to screw you over for his own personal gain. Another challenge of doing business in Ghana is inflation, right? So let's see, I'm into construction, yeah? When I came to Ghana in the year 2021, $1 US change it, and you get 5 cedis and 70 pesos. That's what it was. And within 1 year, the cedis had depreciated like crazy. $1 was equal to 15 Ghana cedis, and then it went back down, was performing well, and right now it's at 12, right? That's why when we do the BOQ is bill of quantities. When we are estimating how much a building will cost a client, we usually, once we arrive at the Ghana cedis, because we spend Ghana cedis in Ghana, we always divide it by whatever the exchange rate is at the date, and we pin it to the dollar, right? So you have your bill in dollar cost. If you do it in cedis, we will be severely screwed, because the cedis is unreliable. It can move like wildfire, and it has put a lot of people under the bus. Literally has put a lot of people out of business because their capital is just being washed away by the minute, right? So let me give you an example. Let's say I'm into oil and gas, right? I have my capital. I'm a Ghanaian, so I love my currency, right? Every time I got to go and deal with gas transaction, I have to exchange some of money into dollars in order to trade import and export deals. That's how it's made. Most importing deals and exporting deals are the transaction, the money that they use to do this is dollars. A lot of people go out of business just like that. Inflation just wash away your money. A lot of people go out of business, so you have to know how to maneuver with a city's depreciation. That can get a bit complicated, where having to convert your money into dollars immediately, saving some in dollars, moving money here, tracking, pegging your rates into that dollar. So when you see stuff are going up, you can increase it, or you just price it in dollars. But when they come, that's what a lot of hotels do, right? People don't understand this stuff. A lot of people get pissed off that you are in Ghana. Why are you pricing in dollars? Well, first of all, dollars is very easy for a lot of countries to understand the dollar, right? Most people, when they hear the Ghana cedis, the first time hearing the cedis in their lives, they have to go online and do this research, and just blows their mind away. So it's easier to say dollars, and when they come here, and somebody pays through the POS system, it'll always go to your cedis account. You cannot transact in dollars in Ghana. You can't. Right? By law, it must be in cedis. So somebody might be charging $100, but it's going into their cedis account. So it's being converted to the cedis at the day of. So most people price in dollars because it's more fixed, right? They don't want to keep changing the prices, and being unstable, right? So they just peg it to the dollar. Like, okay, there's $100 a night, and whatever it may be in cedis, they don't care because they're getting $100 regardless. That's the logic behind it. It's not that people are in Ghana spending dollars, and it makes a whole lot of sense because when you have a currency that is like all over the place, I mean, what do you expect people to do? So inflation and the currency is a huge problem that you have to master. You have to know economics. You have to know how to move money around. And other than that, your money will just get washed away. You could do everything right, like the gas example that I just gave you. Right, your money just get washed away, right? And it's pretty bad. The tax system here is a bit different from what you used to. If you're in the real estate sector, the tax system is sweet. I think that's like worldwide, right? If you're in the real estate sector, tax system is amazing. Ghana, in America, you can depreciate over a long period of time. You could do double declining, depreciation. You depreciate a month against the money that you've made, and you end up paying like almost no taxes. Depending on if you have a lot of years to depreciate it, that means on a straight line, they have a whole bunch of depreciation method. They have a straight line. They have double decline. That means depreciating faster than the average. If it's a residential unit, they have the years where you can depreciate it against, right? So depreciation, how it works is you divide it by the number of years, and each year you take that. That's a simple straight line depreciation. Then you have double declining, where they have a chart for it, where you can take more upfront and then finish it fast, and then you don't have any more. The beautiful thing about Ghana is you can depreciate all your assets within 5 years in the real estate sector. It's pretty fast. It's better than America. So real estate sector is great, but in America, if you buy a car as a company, you get to depreciate it and a whole bunch of tax advantages on that. It's totally different in Ghana, right? If you buy a car through your company, you actually end up paying a lot of taxes on that car, right? So you have to understand the territory that you are in. Don't come and assume that the tax knowledge that in America or UK is the same here. It's totally different. You could work against you, could work in your favor, but you do have to understand this or hire like a professional accountant on the ground to kind of advise you. Doing business in Ghana is great. There are a lot of opportunities, countless opportunities. You do not have to be a genius. You do not have to be an Einstein because it is a developing country. And if you've lived in the West, you have a huge advantage with regards to having access to capital that most Ghanaians don't have and being exposed to the average day-to-day life, right? For example, cafes, like a beautiful cafe is a huge thing, right? It's a huge business. One of them is Ali Bar. They have Jamestown cafes, pretty damn big. They're making a lot of money over there in Osu. Shout out to those guys. They are Ghanaian, two friends that came together, which is not easy. That's another video. Ghanaians coming together to form a company. It's not something that you hear often, but they did it. It's successful, and they have suspended to other branches and into other stuff in the hospitality space. So I'm always happy to see my brothers and sisters coming together to work together and being successful, right? Like right now, I am actually in partnership with a friend of mine. We've created a company together called Arcadian Limited, where all this construction stuff I'm talking about, customized furniture, the bookshelf behind me, all of that stuff is made by us. The building, my house, is made by was constructed by us, and it's two Ghanaians came together, and we are creating something that hopefully becomes big and employ a lot of people, and we make a change in Ghana. So cafe is a big thing, which is very simple in America, UK, wherever you are. It's very simple. It's like a lot of them, but I'm not saying it's not so new, but like in the past 10 years has become a thing. Like Ghanaians are becoming more Americanized, right? I remember about 20 years ago, if you come to Ghana from the States, it was so obvious, like day and night, right? Who is from the States and who is from Ghana? Not anymore. The line is very blurry unless you hear them speak. Like when people are standing there, you don't know who's from Ghana, who's not. The way they dress, clothes, their skin, because a lot of people in the AC, I don't know what it is. The food, I don't know, but the line is really blurry. Unless you go to, the villages and stuff, like you could tell, like, okay, this person is from Ghana, lived their whole life in Ghana. But in Accra, it's hard. In certain places, it's hard. It's hard for you to tell. So we've come a long way, honestly. We have come a long damn way. So we have to be grateful. As we complain, we need to know that we've come a long way. And Ghana on the map, is doing way better than other African countries. Way better than other African countries. That's why people from other African countries choose to come and live in Ghana for their retirement or moving out of the West to Africa. They choose Ghana because Ghana is on the forefront. It's peaceful. You can have a business that's going to thrive and going to do well. Doomsaw, which is a light on and off, is a lot better than Nigeria. Nigeria is really like well developed than Ghana, but the economics, the how crowded it is, the crime rate, and a lot of stuff leads a lot of people to come to Ghana instead, right? Because the crime rate is relatively low. Ghana is one of the most peaceful countries in the world, actually, not just Africa. You could do business here on a small scale. It's easy. You're around, you manage it, everything is cool. If you want to spend though, you have to be tactical and calculate well because it's not an easy thing to do. And we can all take notes from the Lebanese, the Chinese. Unfortunately, they figure it out. If you've not subscribed to the channel already, can you do so? Like the video, as it helps with the algorithm, and comment. Let me know what you think. And until next time, my friends, be legendary. Peace.